Thanks. We really appreciate the opportunity to share with you one of Wichita's best-kept secrets, McConnell Air Force Base. Some of you may have some knowledge about the base and what goes on out there, but I hope we can give you a broader view of their role in keeping us safe. Here's what we'll be covering today: an overview and history of McConnell going back all the way to the 1920s, the story of how Friends of McConnell got started, what the founders of FOM outlined as the objectives of the organization, and an overview of the various base activities that are funded by FOM. McConnell falls under the umbrella of Air Mobility Command, which is part of the 18th Air Force. The U.S. map illustrates all the active duty, reserve, and National Guard bases under Air Mobility Command. There are 19 bases under 18th Air Force, representing a total of over 134,000 people. The history of McConnell is directly tied to the early aviation pioneers and the development of Wichita as the air capital. Back in the 1920s, there was a plot of land, 640 acres to be specific, that was known as the California section. This was where a lot of early aviation pioneers launched their aircraft. The onslaught of World War II started some of the development of McConnell Air Force Base. Sometime before the attack on Pearl Harbor, the Air National Guard established the 127th Observation Squadron at the Wichita Municipal Airport. World War II was a boon for aircraft workers in Wichita. Cessna, Beech, and Boeing were producing the same aircraft, a Jayhawk CG-4A for the Army Air Corps. The glider had wooden ribs and was covered with plywood. It was part of the D-Day invasion in France. Approximately 14,000 were built from 1925 through 45. The biggest impact on Wichita during World War II was Boeing's production of the B-29. Over 30,000 workers were employed in this operation. In 1946, this prototype car was developed by Beech. This prototype was way ahead of its time. The vehicle had a telephone, four-wheel electric drive, and an aluminum body and frame. However, due to its exorbitant cost, it never made it into production. It's hard to fathom today, but Wichita had the second busiest airport in the U.S. in the late 1940s. This is a shot of the front of the Wichita Airport back in the 1940s. In those days, the Wichita Airport was a stopover for many of the rich and famous. Here is Amelia Earhart with oilman Jake Mullendick. Here's a shot of Charles Lindbergh and Walter Beech in 1929. Another couple of famous visitors who stopped at the Wichita Municipal Airport were Gary Cooper and Gregory Peck. As you can see from this image, the airport was bustling with business. When the Wichita Air Force Base opened for business in 1951, it was still an airport. In 1954, the base was designated McConnell Air Force Base in honor of the three deceased famous flying McConnell brothers. This may look like a poster the EPA would use for air pollution. It's actually a B-47 with a rocket-assisted takeoff feature which caused this plume of smoke. While it was quite cutting edge at the time, it never saw combat. However, it was a mainstay of the Strategic Air Command beginning in 1951, being designed to deploy nuclear weapons. It was instrumental in the development of today's commercial airlines. In 1962, McConnell was also a Strategic Air Command base for the Titan missile program. Here's a cutout view of the missile silo, command center, and facilities, which are all located underground. These silos were about 18,000 square feet. And yes, there may have been one located very close to where you live. There were a total of 18 silos, all of which have been decommissioned. One was sold in Kansas in 1983 for $48,000. It took the buyer 10 years to convince his wife to move in, but they have a very secure home. The 60s brought a fighter squadron of F-105s to McConnell. And in 1971, the Air Force began a strategic refueling operation at McConnell. These are the same planes being flown today. Granted, they now have upgraded engines and avionics, but believe it or not, the floors in the planes being flown today are still made out of plywood. Here is a view from the boom operator's position on a KC-135 as he prepares to refuel a B-52. The B-1 bomber began arriving in late 1986, and the 384th redesignated from an air refueling wing to a bombardment wing on July 1, 1987. The 384th ARS remained as an associate tanker squadron. The bomb wing remained the host wing at McConnell until December 1993. After the B-1s moved to the Kansas Air National Guard, they departed McConnell in 1994. Most people are not aware that McConnell is responsible for the Smoky Hill Weapons Range in Salina. This 34,000-acre range is the largest Air National Guard range in the U.S. and is used by aircraft like the F-16 for air tactical training. The 184th Intelligence Wing is also located at McConnell. Shown here is one of the remotely piloted aircraft that gather information in areas of conflict like Iraq and Afghanistan. The information is transferred back to McConnell, analyzed, and forwarded to the appropriate security agencies. Today, McConnell Air Force Base is a total force base hosting the active duty, reserve, and guard. These three components make up over 5,500 personnel, with 3,200 family members on a base that covers 3,540 acres. McConnell has a huge financial impact on Wichita, pumping over $500 million into the local economy each year. Even in an economic downturn, the base has continued to grow and provide numerous capital projects over the past several years. Friends of McConnell, or FOM, was started in the 1960s as a group of businessmen who wanted to support the base. Its involvement on the base has increased over the years and included neighboring towns like Derby. While the initial membership was by invitation only, today any individual or business can apply for membership. While the overall FOM mission statement is to enhance and maintain the highest level of mutual cooperation between McConnell Air Force Base and the civilian community, our primary goal is to support non-government funded activities for airmen on base. Friends of McConnell support the overall mission of the base. We promote the building of strategic relationships by maintaining an ongoing line of communication with the base. We provide support for personnel and dependent families through the funding of various projects. We assist in the resolution of any concerns between the area's civilians and the military leadership. As a result of our support activities at the base, Friends of McConnell is honored to have been the Air Force's nominee for the prestigious Zachary and Elizabeth Fisher Distinguished Civilian Humanitarian Award, the highest award given to a civilian group by the military. As you can see from this slide, Friends of McConnell supports many activities on the base. Let's take a look at a few of them. The Air Force Ball is the social highlight of the year for the base. Friends of McConnell often supplies funding to cover the cost of the band for this event. The Air Force excels at recognition, and the FOM helps by furnishing gift certificates for both quarterly and yearly award winners. We also support the Base Family Picnic, which is held every July. Tops in Blue is another best-kept secret. This variety show, consisting entirely of Air Force personnel, travels around the world each year. Performances are free of charge. The show is held in Wichita each year at the Orpheum Theater. Every other year, McConnell competes in the Air Mobility Rodeo, the Olympics of Air Mobility Command. There are over 2,500 competitors representing bases in the U.S. and 27 countries. The biannual event is held at McCord Air Force Base in Washington. Shown here is Team McConnell at the opening ceremonies. The week-long competition features many different types of events. Here, the McConnell team competes in Fit to Fight. The event includes 60 seconds of sit-ups and 60 seconds of push-ups, followed by a timed 1.5-mile run. The winner of the push-up category did 107 push-ups in 60 seconds. Another competition was the obstacle course, which, believe me, was not an easy task, as you can see in this picture. Several of the competitions included simulated battlefield conditions. Here, the McConnell Security Forces team has a little fun posing for the camera. Competitors had to run 1.5 miles, pick up and carry a 220-pound dummy on a stretcher, then shoot handguns and rifles while wearing gas masks. One of the competitions that couldn't be observed was the air refueling. An example is shown here. The maintainers have their own competition. Pictured here is Captain Kerry Kerner accepting an award on behalf of the team. Each year, a group of civilians is selected to accompany the team for the week-long activities. Here, they're shown with McConnell's commander, Command Chief, and Lieutenant General Robert Allardyce. During the week-long activities, each team has their own MASH-type tent in an area called Rainier Ranch. Friends of McConnell provided funds to feed the team during the week. Part of the civilian team's responsibility is to provide and prepare meals for the team when they are not competing. In 2011, the McConnell tent was known as the only tent that was serving gourmet food. Our master chef was Justin Ladner. The hospitality tent becomes a gathering place, especially in the evenings. General Raymond Johns, pictured in the white jacket, joined the maintainers for a group photo. During the course of a year, FOM helps the base welcome visiting dignitaries. We were privileged to have General Johns, General Hostage, Lieutenant General Allardyce, and Lieutenant General Ramsey. Here, General Allardyce is meeting with McConnell senior staff. Each year, the Airlift Tanker Association holds a convention that provides social and educational activities for civilians and the military. Several FOM members attend. FOM, in conjunction with the Enlisted Spouses Club, conducted Operation Holiday Surprise. E1 through E4 enlisted personnel are randomly chosen to have their groceries paid for. FYI, an E1 airman makes about $17,892 a year. FOM also participates in various parades with Team McConnell. FOM participated in a Safe Ride program for airmen. A $10,000 grant from AAA Kansas was secured to fund the program. Rides were provided at no cost. FOM often joins the Wichita Wagon Masters to thank airmen for their hard work in preparing for major inspections and a variety of competitions with a cookout. Friends of McConnell membership dues allow us to continue our financial support of base activities. FOM members are regularly invited to participate in receptions, changes of command, and other programs and activities. We understand everyone's time constraints, so membership in FOM does not require participation in these activities. Your participation is always welcomed, however, and encouraged. We hope this gives you a better understanding and appreciation of McConnell's importance to our national defense and our community. And we hope you will consider joining us in our support of McConnell. If you would like to learn more about Friends of McConnell, please ask for one of our flyers.